What if you took your child for a walk in the mountains, and Pufu both vanished without a trace? 5 years ago, that's exactly what happened to Emily Carter and her 3-year-old daughter, Lily, in the Colorado Rockies. And what was found still chills me to the bone. Hey, don't forget to like. Please subscribe for more shocking crime stories, and hit the bell icon. The darkest truth are yet to come. It was a crisp September morning in 2020 when Emily Carter, a 32-year-old single mom, buckled her daughter Lily into a hiking carrier and set out for a trail in the San Juan Mountains. The plan was simple: a 2-hour loop, some fresh air, a few photos of Lily giggling at chipmunks. They never came back. Search teams scoured the rugged terrain for weeks, dogs, drones, volunteers combing every ridge. Nothing, not a shoe, not a toy, not a single clue. The case went cold, leaving Emily's husband, Nathan Carter, a high school teacher in Durango, shattered, clinging to fading memories of his family's laughter. 5 years later, in the fall of 2025, a wildlife biologist named Dr. Sarah Hensley was tracking wolf migration patterns deep in the San Juans. Her team's sonar equipment pinged something odd. Buried in a remote alpine meadow, something that wasn't rock or root. What they dug up was so disturbing it reopened a case everyone thought was dead. Nathan Carter sat at his kitchen table, grading papers under the dim glow of a single bulb. The house was too quiet now, the kind of quiet that suffocates photos. Of Emily and Lily lined the walls, Millie's bright smile at their wedding, Lily's tiny hand clutching a dandelion. His phone buzzed, a local number he didn't recognize. His heart skipped. No one called about Emily and Lily anymore. Mr. Carter, this is Detective Laura Bennett with the San Juan County Sheriff's Office. A steady voice said, "We need you to come to the station. It's about your wife and daughter." Nathan's pen clattered to the floor, ink smearing across a student's essay. "What did you find?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. "We'll discuss it in person," Bennett replied. "Can you be here tomorrow?" Nathan was already grabbing his keys, his mind racing back to that September day. Emily had been meticulous: trail maps, extra water, a satellite phone for emergencies. She'd promised to text when they reached the trailhead. That text never came. Imagine, you're standing in your kitchen, 5 years after losing everyone you love, and a call like that comes. Would you dare to hope, or would dread sink in first? For Nathan, it was both. He drove through the night, the San Juan peaks looming like silent witnesses. At the sheriff's office, Detective Bennett, a no-nonsense woman in her late 40s, met him in a small room cluttered with case files. A research team found remains in an alpine meadow off the Silver Creek Trail, she said, her eyes steady. But heavy bones, clothing fragments, and a child stuffed bear. Nathan's breath caught. Lily never went anywhere without Mr. Paws, a ratty teddy bear she hugged to sleep every night. Are they both of them? Nathan managed, gripping the edge of the table. Bennett hesitated. The remains are adult-sized, likely female. We're waiting on DNA, but the clothing matches Emily's hiking gear. The bear? It's distinctive, with a red patch on its ear. Nathan's mind flashed to Lily, sewing that patch with Emily's help, her tiny fingers fumbling with the needle. What about my daughter? He pressed, voice cracking. No child's remains were found, Bennett said carefully. But the site's unusual. The remains were buried, deliberately, not scattered like an animal attack or accident. Nathan's stomach twisted. Buried. Someone had hidden Emily's body. The Silver Creek Trail was remote. A 6-mile loop through dense pine forests and rocky cliffs, popular with experienced hikers, but not beginners. Emily was no novice. She'd hiked these mountains since moving to Durango after college. She knew the risks, always carried a whistle, and taught Lily to stay close. Nathan had stayed home that day, prepping lesson plans, trusting Emily's competence. Now, he cursed himself for not going with them. Bennett led him to a table covered with evidence bags, a shredded green jacket, a cracked water bottle, and Mr. Paws, its red patch faded but unmistakable. These were found in a shallow grave, about 3 feet deep, Bennett said. The site was concealed with rocks and moss, like someone wanted it to stay hidden. Nathan stared at the bear, memories flooding back, Lily's giggles as she fed Mr. Paws pretend soup. Who would do this? He whispered. We're treating it as a homicide, Bennett replied. The burial suggests intent, and the absence of Lily's remains. It's significant. We're re-examining everything from 2020 trail logs, ranger reports, witness statements. Nathan's mind spun. If Lily wasn't there, where was she? Had she been taken? Was she still out there, alive, after 5 years? The thought was a fragile spark of hope, but it burned against the weight of Emily's likely death. Bennett drove Nathan to the Silver Creek trailhead, now cordoned off with police tape. The meadow, where the remains were found, was a mile off. The main path, surrounded by wildflowers and towering pines. A forensics team worked methodically, sifting soil and cataloging fragments. Dr. Hensley, the biologist who'd made the discovery, approached, her face pale. We were scanning for wolf dens, she said. The sonar hit something dense, about 2 feet down. When we dug, we found bones wrapped in a tarp, with the bear tucked inside. Nathan's knees buckled. A tarp. Someone had planned this, calculated it. The meadow felt wrong, too serene for such horror. Nathan could almost see Emily here, Lily on her back, pointing at clouds. How had it gone so wrong? The tarp's material is consistent with camping gear sold locally, Bennett added. We're tracing purchases from 2020, but it's a long shot. We also found metal fragments, possibly from a knife or tool embedded in the soil. Nathan's mind raced. A knife. Had Emily fought back? Had she tried to protect Lily? He wanted to scream, to demand answers, but the mountains offered only silence. Back at the station, Bennett showed Nathan the trail log from September 15, 2020. Emily had signed in at 7:22 a.m., noting a 2-hour hike with Lily. No one else had signed in that early, but the trail was busy later that day. Dozens of hikers, campers, and a local ranger, Michael Garrett, on patrol. Garrett's still with the Park Service, Bennett said. He was questioned back then, but his report only mentioned seeing a few hikers, none matching Emily's description. We're bringing him in again. Nathan nodded, but his thoughts were on Lily. If she wasn't in that grave, where was she? That night, Nathan couldn't sleep. He sat in his motel room, staring at a photo of Lily on his phone, her curly brown hair, her gap-toothed smile. He'd kept her room untouched, her toys still waiting. The idea that she might be alive kept him awake, but so did the fear of what she'd endured. Had someone taken her? Was she scared? Alone? Or, God forbid, gone, just not found yet? He called his sister, Claire, in Albuquerque, updating her through choked sobs. Nathan, you need to rest, she urged. You can't help Lily if you fall apart. But rest was impossible when every second felt like a race against time. The next morning, Bennett called with news. We found something in the tarp, a partial fingerprint on the inner lining, she said. It's degraded, but we're running it through the database. Also, the knife fragments suggest a hunting blade, common in these parts. Nathan's mind latched onto the fingerprint. Whose was it? A random hiker, a local? He thought of Ranger Garrett, who'd been on the trail that day. Garrett was in his early 50s, a lifelong outdoorsman with a reputation for knowing every inch of the San Juans. Could he know more than he'd let on? Bennett arranged for Nathan to meet Garrett at the ranger station, a log building cluttered with maps and rescue gear. Garrett was wiry, with sun-weathered skin and a calm demeanor that felt almost too steady. Mr. Carter, I'm so sorry, he said, shaking Nathan's hand. I've thought about your family every time I patrol that trail. Nathan studied him, searching for any hint of guilt. Did you see anything that day? He asked. Garrett shook his head. Just the usual. Hikers. I checked the Silver Creek shelters after a storm rolled in that afternoon. No one was there. Nathan's gut tightened. A storm? Emily would have sought shelter with Lily. The shelters were basic structures, wooden huts with bunks and emergency supplies, scattered along the trails for hikers caught in bad weather. Bennett later explained they'd checked the shelters in 2020, but found no trace of Emily or Lily. We're researching them now, she said, and we're pulling Garrett's logs from that day. He mentioned a storm, but his report didn't note any specific encounters. Nathan's unease grew. Garrett's memories seemed too vague for someone so experienced. Was he hiding something, or was Nathan's grief making him paranoid? That afternoon, Nathan joined a search team revisiting the Silver Creek shelters. The first, Pine Hollow, was a mile from the meadow, a sturdy cabin with a rusted stove. Inside, a logbook sat on a shelf, its pages yellowed. Nathan flipped to September 2020, finding Emily's neat handwriting. E. Carter, September 15, 8:30 a.m., with daughter, seeking shelter from rain. His heart stopped. She'd been here, safe, at least for a moment. But below her entry was another, in different ink. M. Garrett, September 15, 29 a.m., shelter check. Garrett had been there, minutes after Emily. Nathan showed the log to Bennett, who frowned. This wasn't in the original case file, she said, bagging the book as evidence. Garrett never mentioned stopping here. Nathan's pulse raced. Had Garrett lied? Had he seen Emily and Lily, or worse, done something to them? Bennett radioed her team to bring Garrett back for questioning. As they hiked to the second shelter, Nathan's mind churned. Emily had been cautious, but a ranger was someone you'd trust. Had she let her guard down? The second shelter, Elk Ridge, was more remote, tucked in a clearing near a stream. The CSI team dusted for prints, finding nothing recent. But Nathan noticed something ate a faint scratch on the doorframe, like a knife had nicked it. Could be nothing, the tech said, but Nathan's mind went to the blade fragments in the meadow. Was this where it started? He imagined Emily. Here Lily clinging to her, trusting a ranger who might have turned predator. The thought made his chest ache. Back at the station, Garrett was waiting, his calm demeanor fraying slightly. I don't remember stopping at Pine Hollow that day, he said when confronted with the log. I check dozens of shelters weekly. It's routine. Bennett's eyes narrowed. You didn't mention a storm in your 2020 report either. Why? Garrett shrugged, but his hands fidgeted. Paperwork slips through the cracks. I'm sorry. Nathan wanted to shake him, demand answers, but Bennett signaled him to stay quiet. We're pulling your phone records from 2020, she told Garrett, and rechecking your alibis. That night, Nathan sat in his motel, replaying Garrett's words. The ranger's vague answers felt like a dodge. He Googled Garrett, finding only a few articles about park rescues, nothing incriminating. But something nagged at him. Garrett's mention of the storm. Emily would have stayed in the shelter, not ventured out in rain with Lily. Had Garrett found them there? Had he taken advantage of their vulnerability? Nathan texted Bennett. Check Garrett's truck logs from 2020. If he was at Pine Hollow, he drove there. It was a hunch, but he couldn't shake it. The next morning, Bennett called with news. The fingerprint on the tar pit's a partial match to Garrett's. It's not enough for a conviction, but it's enough to hold him. Nathan's blood ran cold. Garrett, the trusted ranger, was now their prime suspect. We also found his truck's GPS data from 2020, Bennett added. It places him near Pine Hollow at 9:15 a.m. on September 15th. He lied about his route. Nathan's hope for Lily flared brighter. If Garrett had taken her, she might still be alive. But where? Bennett's team searched Garrett's home, a small cabin outside Durango. They found nothing obvious, no sign of Lily, no clear evidence of murder. But in the garage, tucked in a toolbox, was a child's hair clip, pink with a daisy, just like one Lily wore. Nathan identified it instantly. his voice breaking. That's hers. She had it that morning. Bennett bagged it as evidence. Her face grim. We're digging into Garrett's past, his finances, his relationships. If he took Lily, there'll be a trail. Nathan nodded, but his mind was on his daughter. 5 years. What had she been through? As the investigation deepened, Nathan met with Claire, who'd driven up to support him. If Lily's alive, we'll find her, she said, hugging him tightly. But Nathan saw the doubt in her eyes. 5 years was a long time for a child to survive with a killer. He thought of Emily, her strength, her love for Lily. She'd have fought to her last breath to protect their daughter. Nathan vowed to do the same, no matter how long it took. Late that night, Bennett called again. We found something in Garrett's phone records a call to an unregistered number the day Emily disappeared, made from near Pine Hollow. We're tracing it now. Nathan's heart pounded. A call. To whom? An accomplice. Someone hiding Lily. The pieces were falling into place, but the puzzle was far from complete. As he lay awake, staring at the motel ceiling, Nathan whispered to himself, Lily, I'm coming for you. But the mountains held their secrets tight, and the truth was still out of reach. The phone call in Michael Garrett's records haunted Nathan Carter like a ghost. A single, unregistered number, dialed from near Pine Hollow shelter, the morning Emily and Lily vanished, September 15th, 2020. Detective Laura Bennett's team was tracing it, but Nathan couldn't wait. He sat in his motel room, the hum of the San Juan Mountains outside his window, and opened his laptop. He needed to know who Garrett had called, and why a child's hair clip was hidden in the ranger's toolbox. Was Lily alive, raised by a stranger? Or was she gone, another secret buried in these unforgiving peaks? Bennett met Nathan at the sheriff's office the next morning, her face drawn from a sleepless night. The number traces to a burner phone, purchased in Durango in 2020, she said, sliding a report across the desk. No name, paid in cash, but it was active for 3 months after Emily's disappearance. Pinging towers in northern New Mexico. Nathan's heart lurched. New Mexico was close to close. Could Lily be there? He asked, voice tight. Bennett's eyes softened. We're working on it. We've also got Garrett in custody, and he's not talking. But his truck's GPS data shows he drove to a remote cabin near the border that same week. A cabin. Nathan's mind raced, picturing Lily, now 8 years old, hidden away in some isolated shack. He thought of Emily's final moments, fighting for her daughter in that shelter. I want to see that cabin, he said. Bennett nodded. We're organizing a search warrant now. It's on private land, owned by a woman named Karen Walsh, a former park volunteer who worked with Garrett in 2020. Nathan's pulse quickened. A woman, an accomplice. He remembered Emily's trust in rangers, her belief that the mountains were safe. Had Karen been part of this? The cabin was a 3-hour drive south, near the New Mexico border, nestled in a valley of scrub oak and red rock. As Nathan and Bennett approached with a tactical team, the air felt heavy, like the mountains themselves were holding their breath. The cabin was weathered, its wooden walls peeling, a single chimney puffing smoke. Someone's here, Bennett whispered, signaling her team to fan out. Nathan's eyes locked on a child's tricycle in the yard, rusted but recent. His knees nearly gave out. Was Lily inside? Imagine, you're standing outside a cabin, knowing your missing child might be behind that door. Would you run in? Consequences be damned. Or wait, terrified of what you'd find? Nathan wanted to charge forward, but Bennett's hand on his arm stopped him. We do this by the book, she said firmly. For Lily. The team breached the door, shouting commands. A woman in her mid-40s, Karen Walsh, froze in the kitchen, her hands raised. She was wiry, with gray-streaked hair and eyes that darted like a cornered animal's. Where's the girl? Bennett demanded. Karen's face hardened. No girl here, she said, but her voice trembled. The cabin was sparse old furniture, a wood stove. No signs of a child at first glance. Nathan's heart sank, but then he saw it. A small pair of sneakers by the door, pink with daisies, just like Lily's favorite kind. Those are hers, he choked out, pointing. Bennett bagged them as evidence while officers searched the rooms. In a locked closet, they found a box of children's clothes, books, and a drawing a stick figure, family labeled Mommy, Karen, Daddy, Mike, and me. Nathan's blood ran cold. Daddy Mike, Michael Garrett. Karen was cuffed and led to a patrol car, her silence deafening. "Where's my daughter?" Nathan shouted, stepping closer than Bennett liked. Karen's eyes met his, cold and unyielding. "You lost her a long time ago," she said, before an officer pulled her away. Nathan's vision blurred with rage and grief. Bennett put a hand on his shoulder. "We're searching the property. If Lily's here, we'll find her." But the cabin was empty, no hidden rooms, no trace of a child. Nathan clung to the drawing. Lily's handwriting unmistakable despite the years. She was alive, or had been recently. Back at the station, Bennett interrogated Karen, with Nathan watching through a mirror. "I first read about Emily's case in a local paper," Nathan thought. The memory sharp. It was just a missing persons blurb, but it's haunted me ever since. Karen's story unraveled slowly. She'd been a park volunteer, lonely after a divorce, forming a close bond with Garrett. "He called me that day," she admitted, voice flat. "Said he'd found a little girl, lost in the storm. Asked me to take her in." Nathan's fists clenched. Lost, or stolen. Karen claimed Garrett had found Lily alone in the Pine Hollow shelter, crying, with no sign of Emily. "He said her mom was gone, probably an accident," Karen said. "I didn't ask questions. I wanted a family." Bennett pressed harder. "And the hair clip in Garrett's toolbox. The tarp with his fingerprint." Karen's face twitched. "I don't know about any tarp," she said, but her eyes betrayed her. Bennett leaned in. "We found Emily's remains, Karen, buried, with a knife wound in her rib cage." "You expect us to believe you knew nothing?" Nathan's breath hitched. A knife wound. Emily hadn't just died, she'd been murdered. He thought of her strength, her fierce love for Lily. She'd have fought to her last breath. Karen's story shifted. She admitted Garrett had told her Emily was gone but swore she didn't know how. "He brought Lily to me that night," she said. "Her hair was wet, her clothes muddy. I cleaned her up, dyed her hair blonde, to avoid questions. We called her Sophie." Nathan's heart shattered. His daughter, renamed, raised by a stranger. Bennett showed Karen the drawing. "This is Lily's," she said. "Where is she now?" Karen's eyes filled with tears, but she shook her head. "She's safe. That's all I'll say." Nathan wanted to scream, but Bennett signaled him to stay calm. "Outside," she explained. "Karen's protecting someone or something, or checking her financials, her contacts. If Lily's alive, she's likely with someone Karen trusts." Nathan's hope flickered, fragile but stubborn. Lily was out there, somewhere. The next day, Bennett's team traced Karen's bank records, finding regular payments to a woman named Ellen Price in Taos, New Mexico. Ellen, a retired teacher, had no criminal record, but had fostered children privately. Karen sent her $500 a month for childcare, Bennett said. Started a month after Lily disappeared. Nathan's pulse raced. Was Ellen raising Lily as Sophie? Bennett organized a team to visit Ellen's home, a modest ranch house in Taos. Nathan insisted on going, despite Bennett's warnings. "I need to see her," he said, "even if it's just a glimpse." The drive to Taos was agonizing, the desert stretching endlessly under a gray sky. Ellen's house was quiet, a swing set in the yard creaking in the wind. Nathan stayed in the car as Bennett and her team knocked. Ellen, a soft-spoken woman in her 60s, opened the door, her face paling when she saw the badges. "Is this about Sophie?" she asked, voice trembling. Nathan's heart stopped. Sophie. Lily. Bennett explained the situation, and Ellen's shoulders slumped. "She's at school," she said. "I had no idea she was stolen. Karen told me her parents died." Nathan followed the team to Taos Elementary, his hands shaking. In the principal's office, he waited, staring at a photo of Lily from 2020. Her curly hair and gap-toothed smile burned into his memory. When the door opened, a girl walked in, 8 years old, blonde hair, but with Lily's hazel eyes and dimpled chin. Nathan's breath caught. "Lily," he whispered, but the girl shrank back, clutching a social worker's hand. "I'm Sophie," she said, voice small. Nathan's heart broke. She didn't know him. Ellen explained she'd taken Sophie in after Karen's tearful plea, believing the girl was an orphan. "She's a bright kid," Ellen said, tears in her eyes. "Loves drawing, hates math. I thought I was giving her a home." Nathan nodded, swallowing his grief. Lily Sophie was alive, healthy, but her world was about to shatter. Bennett arranged for a DNA test to confirm her identity, though Nathan didn't need it. Those eyes were his daughter's, even if she called another woman mom. Back at the station, Garrett finally cracked under pressure. "It wasn't planned," he said, head in his hands. "I saw Emily at Pine Hollow, her and the girl, waiting out the storm. Karen and we'd lost a baby the year before." She was broken, talking about ending it all. His voice shook. "I told Emily I'd check on them later, but I called Karen instead. Told her about the girl, how her mom was alone. No one knew where they were." Nathan watched the confession on a monitor, rage and sorrow warring inside him. Garrett admitted to returning to the shelter that night. Emily was asleep, Lily in her arms, he said. "I told her. Karen wanted to meet them, help with the storm. She trusted my rangers are safe, right?" His laugh was bitter. "I led her to the meadow, said it was a shortcut. When she saw the tarp, she knew. She fought, screamed for Lily. I panicked, grabbed my knife." Nathan's fists clenched, imagining Emily's terror, her desperate fight to save their daughter. "I didn't mean to kill her," Garrett said, tears streaming. "I just wanted the girl for Karen. I buried. Emily took Lily to the cabin. Karen dyed her hair, made up a story about adoption. He planted the hair clip in his toolbox, years later, a twisted keepsake, thinking no one would look there. The burner phone was for Karen, coordinating Lily's handover. They'd framed a drifter, Tom Hayes, whose name appeared in old trail logs, hoping to deflect suspicion if the case ever reopened. Bennett's team found Hayes, now a mechanic in Utah, who'd left Durango in 2020 after a seasonal job. He knew nothing of the case, his name just a convenient decoy. Karen, meanwhile, confessed to helping Garrett cover the murder, believing it was for Sophie's sake. "She needed a mother," Karen said, voice hollow. "I gave her love, a home." Nathan wanted to scream she'd stolen his daughter, built a family on Emily's grave. The DNA test confirmed it. Sophie was Lily Carter. Nathan met her again in a quiet room at the sheriff's office, a social worker, Dr. Anna Torres, guiding the conversation. "Hi, Sophie," Nathan said, kneeling to her level. "I know this is scary, but I'm someone who's been looking for you a long time." Lily's eyes, his lilies, studied him, wary but curious. "Are you my dad?" she asked, voice trembling. Nathan nodded, tears falling. "Yeah, sweetheart. And I've missed you every single day." Lily didn't run to him, didn't call him dad. She clutched a drawing she'd made, a house, a woman, and a girl, labeled Sophie and Mommy Ellen. "Where's Ellen?" she asked. Dr. Torres explained gently, "Ellen's helping the police, but she loves you. We're going to figure this out together." Nathan's heart ached. Lily had a life, a false one, but it was all she knew. He thought of Emily, how she'd want him to be patient, to let Lily come to him in time. Bennett outlined the next steps. Supervised visits, therapy, to help Lily process her identity, and gradual integration into Nathan's life. She may never remember her early years with you, Dr. Torres warned. But she's resilient. Kids are. Nathan nodded, watching Lily draw, her small hand steady, despite the chaos. Garrett and Karen faced charges of murder, kidnapping, and conspiracy. Garrett's confession detailed how he'd moved Emily's body to the meadow under cover of night. The tarp chosen to hide evidence, the knife discarded in a river. Karen had crafted fake adoption papers, using her old park contacts to make them look real. Nathan returned to Durango, Lily's room still waiting, her stuffed animals, her tiny bed. He placed Mr. Paws on her pillow, its red patch a reminder of Emily's love. Claire helped him prepare, warning, "It's going to be hard, Nathan. She's been Sophie for 5 years." He knew, but every night, he looked at Lily's photo, whispering, "I'll wait as long as it takes." The mountains had taken his wife, but they'd given back his daughter, scarred but alive. Weeks later, during a visit, Lily showed Nathan a new, drawing a man, a girl, and a woman with wings. "Is that your mom?" he asked softly, pointing to the angel. Lily nodded. "She's in heaven, right?" Nathan's throat tightened. "Yeah, she is. And she's so proud of you." Lily didn't smile, but she didn't pull away. It was a start. As Nathan walked away from that visit, the San Juan Mountains loomed in the distance, their beauty now tainted by betrayal. Trust, once so natural, had been shattered by those meant to protect. Yet, in Lily's eyes, Nathan saw hope, a chance to rebuild, to heal. Some wounds never close, but love, like a mountain stream, finds a way to keep flowing, even through the cracks. Well, have you ever heard of a case like this? Comment your thoughts. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and catch you in the next one.